Today we will discuss sorting algorithms. Okay. So here we have seen in binary search, the precondition for binary search is the elements are required to be sorted first, right? Only then you can go for binary search algorithm. So, and we have seen that binary search is quite efficient than compared to linear search, right? In terms of time complexity, right? In very worst case scenario where the element is not available, I'm talking about unsuccessful worst case scenario. So, in a very worst case of unsuccessful scenario, the amount of comparison that it requires for 1 million element is not more than 20 rather, right? So, whereas in linear search it's about equivalent to 1 million. So, where the complexity, if you look at time complexity, is drastically reduced from polynomial to logarithmic in binary search. But the precondition for binary search is the elements are required to be sorted first. So we'll see some of the sorting algorithm. Basically, starting with selection sort, there are about more than 50 sorting algorithms, of course, available. But then we will probably look into the first few algorithms as part of our syllabi. Right. Today we will discuss bubble sort and then selection sort, probably, right? First, we'll start with bubble sort. This is even called as exchange sort. Okay, so here in this sort algorithm, what happens is you are going to compare the adjacent elements, right? You're going to compare the adjacent elements, and if the previous element is found to be greater than the next, you make an exchange. Otherwise, not. Like that, you will go for the next subsequent adjacent elements until you reach the last, uh, adjacent elements of that particular set of elements, rather, right? This way, you complete one pass, and then after the pass, you will see if the elements get sorted. Then you will not to go for the next pass. But if not, then you will continue this process in the next pass, and so forth and so forth. How long until the elements get sorted, right? So I'll just write the algorithm in first. What do you call writing in simple English? So compare. What do you do? I think some request came here. We'll first take the request. Somebody has requested for admission. Okay. So what is happening here is first you will compare, right? Compare adjacent elements. If previous element is found to be greater than the next, then make an exchange. Then make an exchange. Likewise, compare until the last elements. Okay. This is said to be one pass. This is said to be one pass. Likewise, the next step I'm writing. Likewise, perform passes until all the elements get sorted. All the elements get sorted. Okay. This is the mechanism, right? And with this mechanism, we'll try to devise the logic out of it, right? Likewise, perform passes until all the elements get sorted. So here, the number of passes that are required, fine. The number of passes required in a worst case scenario is n minus 1, where n is the number of elements. N is the number of elements. Okay. So if you look at the different cases, of course, probably after we take a sample of values and then perform the algorithm and ensure how many type of cases that we may encounter with it in this algorithm, and based on which what would be the time complexities are going to be determined for each of this case, we'll discuss, right? Then we'll devise the logic for the same and implement it using the C language. Okay. So here there are 3 cases you may encounter, right? First one is best case, average case, and worst case. Okay. In best case, only one pass is required. Okay. And average around n by 2 passes, right? And worst case, it's around n minus 1 passes, right? Total number of passes are n minus 1. Okay. Now, based on which we can determine the time complexity. The time complexity of this algorithm okay, for one pass, how many comparisons you are making? If you have about n elements, there are n minus 1 comparisons are required. Okay, n minus 1 comparison. So in every pass, the number of comparisons required are n minus 1. So based on the number of passes, you can determine the time complexity. So best case, obviously the time complexity will be n or big O of n, right? Big O of n. And average case we said n by 2 passes. So it's about big O of n square by 2, because each pass consists of about how many comparisons? N minus 1. N minus 1 into n is around n square by 2. And worst case scenario is about big O of n square, right? So this is the time complexity needed for the bubble sort algorithm or exchange sort. Now we'll try to demonstrate it with the help of an example. Let us take some set of values, demonstration or illustration of the bubble sort algorithm, right? Take some set of elements, take in random order, 5, let us say 10, let us say this is 15, 10, 5 in between here. You have, let us say you have 12 here. Let us take some value, 20 here, and then let us take a value for 8 here. Okay. So the indices of this array is starting with 0, of course, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many elements are there? Total of 6 elements are there. Yes or no? So now in the bubble sort, what exactly you do? You compare the adjacent two elements, right? 15 and 10 are compared. Now what, as per algorithm, we are saying that, if the previous element is found to be greater than the next, right? Compare adjacent element. If previous element is found to be greater than the next, then make an exchange. Likewise, compare until the last element. Okay, this is what you do in each pass, right? So here in this particular example, if you look at previous element is found to be greater, then you have to make an exchange. Exchange means you will have to swap it, right? Interchange of the elements, right? So 10 comes here and 15 goes here, right? Now we will compare these two elements, right? Again, when you compare, you can see previous element is 15, next element is 5. Previous element is found to be greater again, so you make an exchange. So here 5, here 15. Again, you compare next two adjacent, these two. Again, it is greater, so here you get 12, here you get 15. And again, you compare these two. You can see now previous element is not greater, so you don't make an exchange, right? Here you make an exchange, here you make an exchange, here you make an exchange, but here you won't make, right? Then you will compare the next two adjacent elements. These are the next two adjacent elements. So now you can see the previous element is greater. So you have to make an exchange. So you will get 8 here and you will get 20 here, right? So this is said to be one pass, right? So after the pass 1, if you look at the elements, how they are seated in the respective positions are, first you got 10, next you got 5, next you got 12, next you got 15, next you got 8, next you got 20. But if you observe here, after the pass 1, you can see there is one element have been seated in its proper position. Which element out of 8? That is the last element, right? Last element, you can see here basically we are adopting ascending order, right? So in ascending order, when you put all these elements, the greater out of it will sit in the last place. You can see after pass 1, the last position is equipped with the correct value or the proper value, right? And now you can see are the other elements are sorted? No. It means you need to continue this process, right? The same kind of mechanism has to be repeated, right? So I will be continuing this process with the next pass. So by taking the output I generated from the pass 1 as an input to the next pass, I will perform the next pass. So in pass 2, what I'll be doing, I'll be starting with these values. What are the values here? 10, 5, 12, 15, 8, 20, right? 10, 5, 12, 15, 8, 20, right? 15, 8, and 20. I have to continue the same process. What is the process? Compare adjacent elements. If a previous element is found to be greater than the next, you have to make an exchange. So here the previous is greater. So here you get 5, here you get 10, and then again you continue this process. Now here it doesn't work out because the previous is not greater. So here when you compare is not going to be exchanged because previous is not greater. But whereas when you compare here, yes, you have to make an exchange because previous is greater. So 8 you will get and 15 you will get. Now when you compare these two, you can see it is not an exchange. Why? Because previous is 15 here, which is not greater than the next. So this is how the pass 2 is done. So in pass 2, the elements which you get out of the iteration is nothing but 5, 10, 8, 12, 5, 10. Well, is not changed. No? 12. Then here you got 8, here you got 15, here you got 1. If you observe again, last but one position has been placed with the proper value, because when you sort these elements, last but one should get 15 only, right? So you can see from the bottom, the elements are being. So why this particular algorithm is called as bubble sort? Because if you look at, the elements are being get sorted from the bottom, from the end, no. So when you put the water in the bucket with a mug, what happens? The bubbles start coming from the bottom itself. That's how the name is given as bubble sort, right? And another name that is given as exchange sort, because you are comparing adjacent two elements. Whenever you find previous is greater than the next, you are making an exchange. So this exchange process is going to be continued for the entire pass. So that's how the exchange sort name is given for that, right? So now we can see, did you find the elements sorted? No, 8 is not in the right position. It means you need to continue further passes. So I have to 5, 10, 12, 8, 15, 20. 5, 10, 12, 8. Yeah, in the next pass, that is in pass 3, we'll continue the same process, because we did not find 8 has been placed with this proper position rather, right? So when you continue the process, you again compare the adjacent two elements, and the previous is finding to be greater than the next, you make an exchange. But here, no exchange. Here, no exchange. But here, yes, there is an exchange, right? So what do you get here? 8, and here you get 12, right? Here, no exchange. Here, no exchange. So after pass 3, the elements in the array you get like this, right? 5, 10, 8, 12, 15, and 20, right? So did you find the elements placed in the ascending order? No, there is a still sorting process further required, because you cannot find this 8 seated in its proper position. So you need to continue further passes, right? So I'll go for pass 4 now, right? So in pass 4, again, what do? I'll compare the adjacent elements. So when I see previous is not greater than the next, so I don't make an exchange. Here you can see previous is want to be greater than the next, so you make an exchange. You'll get 8 here, you get 10 here. Then here, when you see no exchange, because previous is not greater. Here, no exchange. Here, no exchange. So what is the result that you get out of this particular pass 4 is 5, 8, 10, and 12, and 15, then 20. Can you find the elements in ascending order? Yes. So you need not to do the further process. Actually, how many elements are there? Total of 6 elements. So maximum of how many passes you require in a very worst case scenario, it is into 5 process. But then 5th pass is not required here, since the elements are already sorted, right? So at every end of the pass, you're going to see that whether the elements are sorted or not. If elements are sorted after that particular pass, you need to continue further passes. You stop from doing the next pass, right? So this is how the bubble sort is going to make as an efficient one, considering all 3 possible cases into consideration. I hope this is clear, the mechanism and the demonstration of the same. We'll now write the program for the same, right? I'll write the algorithm here first, then we will demonstrate the same using C language in our online compiler, right? So first we will look at the algorithm here. Algorithm, bubble sort, right? So begin. What is that you require? You require an array here on whom you are going to pass, or let us say a of 5. You can take any size, of course. I to read the elements and perform operations in that array. And then here I'm taking a flag variable. This will monitor during the passes and let me know about whether further passes are required or not. With the help of this flag, I will be knowing that. Then next I require temporary variable since I need to make an exchange or interchange of two variables, taking this temporary variable in between as a backup, I can make an exchange, right? So these are all the variables that I require. I'll take another variable j to perform the number of passes, okay? And okay, so these are all what I require. Now I will first read the array, read the complete array, that is A. Then the logic starts here. So here, number of passes you can represent with j, of course, or I also. I am using, let us say, instead of j, I take the variable name as pass here. Otherwise, it indicates the number of passes. Pass. So I take pass. How many passes are required at the most? N minus 1. So pass, if I start with 0, then probably pass should go till up to n minus 1, okay? And pass plus plus. So in this for loop, now what I do is I'll take this flag value to 0 first before I go for the pass, and then I will now perform the pass. Now during the pass, I'm using I variable to compare the previous with the next, and how long I should go till up to n minus 1. For the last couple of elements, I should go till up to n minus 2. N minus 2 will be the last but one, and n minus 1 will be the last, right? So if I start with 0, it should go till up to less than n minus 1, I plus plus here. Then here in this particular for loop, I am now comparing, right? I am now comparing the previous element with the next element. A of I is going to be compared if it is found to be greater than the next. Next is A of I plus 1, okay? Then what is that I have to do? I need to swap, right? Swap means interchange. Swap of A of I with A of I plus 1, okay? Actually, in implementation, the swap is going to be done with the help of this temporary variable, right? This is just an algorithm, so I am mentioning swap as a function here. So you're going to swap A of I with A of I plus 1, okay? And then what you do is you're going to change the flag value to 1, okay? You're going to change the flag value to 1 and then terminate this for loop, right? And then you terminate this outer for loop as well. Now, in order to restrict the number of passes here, the flag value has to be checked at the outer loop rather, right? So when flag is found to be 1, initially it has to be 1, okay? And only when it is 1, I am adding one more condition here. You can see flag equal to 1 and pass less than n. So I am having two conditions in the outer for loop. Flag equal to 1 and pass less than n minus 1. When both these conditions are true, only then you will be allowed for the next pass. You can see here initially flag is 1, so for the first time anyway you will be allowed here because the condition is true. And before going for the pass, what is that you're going to do? You're changing the flag value to 0. And during the pass, if any exchange is made, you will change the flag value so that the further pass is required. If say no exchange is required, it means the elements are already sorted. When the elements are sorted, you don't need to go for the further pass. It means you need to restrict the logic from entering into the next pass. So without changing the flag value, what happens when you come for the next for loop, next iteration of the outer for loop, the flag value will be 0 itself. See, flag is going to be 1 only when the condition is true. When this condition is true. When this condition is going to be true, when there is an exchange is made. When there is an exchange is made, it means you need further passes. But if the elements are get sorted completely in that particular pass, in that pass you find this condition is false at all the places. When this condition is false in all the places, you don't enter inside this particular if block at all. Yes or no? This is your if block, right? You don't enter into the if block at all. So then you don't change the flag value. When you don't change the flag value, when you come for the next iteration, flag value was 0 itself, right? So flag equal to 1 condition will not be met. So you will be restricted from entering into the next one because the elements already sorted. So you stop doing it. So now you can end the algorithm. This is the algorithm. Okay. Understand? Now we can demonstrate the same using the C program here. I hope the algorithm is clear to all of you. Let me open online compiler here. I'm using onlinegdb.com. So I'm creating a new project here. It will open like this first. Okay. You can remove this all. And this program is doing what? It is actually finding the bubble sort. I mean, it is implementing bubble sort. So I just give the name as bubble sort here. Okay, I've given a one-line comment here saying that it is a bubble sort algorithm. Now, as per the algorithm, what are the variables I require? I require an array of size anything, let us say 5 here, comma I, comma pass, comma flag, comma tag is initially 1, right? At the declaration part itself, you can make it as 1. Then you need a temporary variable for swapping. Okay, these are all the variables what you require here. Okay, if you want to allow the user to go with his own size of array, here we can put a big size of, let us say 20, and then we can restrict it with the help of n. You can customize the array size. Okay, so first you read the array size here. Enter the size of the array. Enter the size first. We are reading here. D, comma ampersand n, right? In n you are reading the size of the array. Then you are going to read the array. So you need to enter the array of n size, right? Enter the array of how many elements? Of n elements, right? Of percentage d elements. NHA. So I have already read here and before the statement, so that n value will be printed here, telling the user to those many elements to be entered for this array. So to read an array, you need a for loop here. I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Okay, then I need a scanf function with which I'm going to read the array elements, percentage d inside the double quote. Since I'm reading integer values, after double quote comma, you need to give the array into which you want to read the elements, ampersand a of I. Okay. So you are reading the array elements here. And now the logic starts. What is the logic here? You can just look at the logic. See, this is the logic. outer loop is restricting and allowing the passes, and inside loop is doing the pass. So in pass, what will you do? You will compare the previous element with the next element. If previous element is greater than the next, you will be swapping it. Okay, if any exchange is required, then further pass is required. So flag is going to help us to allow for the next pass or to restrict the next pass, right? So now, and this as it is, writing the logic here of that algorithm in this program, pass equal to 0. How many passes in a very worst case scenario? N minus 1, right? Less than N minus 1. Pass plus. Okay. And then here you are taking flag value to 0 first. Then you will be now comparing the adjacent elements in the pass. Now you are starting the pass here. So in each pass, what will you do? You will be comparing the previous element with the next element, right? So if you find the previous element is greater than the next, you have to make an exchange. So if I have to go for the last two elements, how long I will go? Till up to N minus 1, okay? I plus, right? And then here inside the for loop, I'll have to compare the previous element, that is A of I, with the next element. If previous element is greater than the next element, okay, then what will you do? You make an exchange. How do you make an exchange? You take the A of I in temporary variable, temp equal to A of I, then A of I will be equipped with A of I plus 1, A of I plus 1, okay, and A of I plus 1 will get placed with temp. Okay, this is how you're going to exchange. It's a swapping of two variables, right? Equal to temp. Okay, and when there is an exchange is done, obviously further pass is required. So you are changing a flag value to 1. Okay, so that you will be allowed for the next pass. Okay, so this is what the logic is. So you can see the if loop is terminated here for loop, inner for loop, and this is outer for loop. Then you got the elements sorted once you come out of the pass, so you have to print the elements. So here you're going to print the elements. So to print the elements, I can rather, just copying here, changing the bit of the same. So you need to print the array. So I'll say that the array, the sorted array elements, right, is the sorted array elements. And I'm now printing the sorted array elements here. Printf I'll be using here, right? I want some space in between, so I'll be using set width here. Let us say 4D, percentage 4D. Okay. So this is my program. I hope you can see my program. All of you can see my. See, first I have taken an array, okay, and to customize this array size, I have taken another variable n here. Then I pass flag temporary variables have taken. I have first set the size of the array, based on which I need to enter the elements here. Okay. Then I am here having an outer for loop to judge the number of passes required in order to sort the elements. Okay, here another condition which I have to add is, as I said, flag equal to 1. Fine. So this flag equal to 1 is another condition which I am adding, which helps to restrict or allow the passes based on the requirement, right? When the array elements are sorted, then this condition will never be true. Then flag value will be 0 itself when you come for the next pass. So you will not be allowed for the next pass. When there are no exchanges made, the elements are already sorted. When the elements are already sorted, then you don't need for the next pass. You don't need to go for the next pass, right? But let us say if there is any exchange is made during the pass, then there is a possibility that you may require another pass, right? So you are changing the flag value so that you will be allowed here for the next pass. Okay, this is how the flag equal to 1 condition which has been added here in addition to this pass less than n minus 1. This pass less than n minus 1 will allow you to go for maximum number of passes. How many maximum number of passes that is required in a very worst case scenario? It's about n minus 1 passes. So n minus 1 passes anyway, this particular auto for loop will allow you to perform. But then in between, if you encounter with any average or best cases, it means that your array gets sorted in between somewhere before going for the last pass. You will have to stop from doing the further passes. This particular flag value is restricting from going for the next passes when it is identifying that the elements are already sorted. Okay, so I hope this is clear to all of you. Select the language as C here. Large size is already, I think probably it is eligible to all of you. Now we'll try to run this algorithm here. You can see first what it is asking. It is asking the size of the array. Enter the size of the array. You said no. So let us take for the sake of simplicity, okay, 5 I'll take, okay, the same thing. And now enter the array of 5 elements. To the maximum, what could be the size of the array I can give? Because I have mentioned in the program 20. So to the maximum 20 elements you can probably read for this array and you can apply the logic on it rather, right? But not more than that, okay? So enter the array of 5 elements. So you have to first enter the elements here. Let us take some values here, 5, 12, 45, 25, and let us say 20 kind of thing, okay? So I have inputted some random values here, 5, 12, 45, 25, 20. Now you can see that sorted elements are, it is giving in ascending order 5, 12, 20, 25 and 45. Okay, so this is how the logic works. I hope it is clear to all of you. This is one important sorting algorithm, okay, that we have across our syllabi, which is an important question for your internal and external as well, okay. Is there any doubt in this algorithm, or it is clear for all of you? If it is okay, then we will go to the next topic, okay. Now we'll look at the next algorithm. We will try to discuss the selection sort here. So I am now going to discuss about the selection sort algorithm. This is one of the another sorting technique, which is almost the first sorting technique, the other way you can say, out of very good number of sorting, as I said, more than 50 probably, right? So this is also being widely used, of course, right? So if you look at selection sort logic, in selection sort, what will you do? You will select one position, right? And then you will compare it with the subsequent elements. And wherever you find this particular element is found to be greater than the subsequent element, you make an exchange, otherwise not. That way, you will try to, make that position, the selected position, equipped with the proper element. Okay. Then you will select the next position element and does the same process repeated. How long? Until the last element gets sorted. This is what the selection sort logic. I will be writing here in words first, then I'll demonstrate, and then we will write the algorithm, then we will go for the program. Okay. So are you ready with it? Yes. So what I'll be doing, select first position, of course, at the beginning. Select a position, I said, within brackets is first initially because we go for the first one element, and compare with the subsequent elements. All these PDFs and recorded lectures are posted in your classrooms. You can view it at a later time as well with the subsequent elements. If selected element is found to be greater, then make an exchange. Okay. Repeat this process. How long? Repeat until the last. So this is said to be one pass. Okay. Select the next position. And repeat the above process. And repeat the above process. Until the elements get sorted. Until the elements get sorted. Okay. So I hope you understand the mechanism behind. Select your first position initially and compare it with the subsequent element. If the selected position element is found to be greater than those among the subsequent, then make an exchange. And repeat this process until the last. And this is at one pass. And in the next pass, you select the next position. Repeat this process. How long? Until all the elements get sorted. It means you will have to select the next position in the next pass. In the next position in the next pass, like that you will be selecting how long until all the elements get sorted. So we'll try to demonstrate here with the help of an example here. I'll take a few elements, let us say 5, 10, 5, 50, 25 and 20, let us say. Okay. Now the indices are 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. So what I do, I'll select the first position. Let us say this is my position selected. I'm going to compare the selected element with the rest of the elements. Wherever I find my selected position element is greater, then I'll be making an exchange, otherwise I don't, right? So when I compare 10 with 5, yes, my element is want to be greater, so I'll make an exchange 5, 10, 5, here I'll get 10, right? Then I'll be comparing with the next element from the rest, right? If I find my position is not greater, so I don't make an exchange, right? Again, I'll be comparing it with the next no exchange. Again, I'll be comparing it with the further next no exchange, right? So this is said to be one pass. So after the pass 1, if I see my elements are 5, 10, 15, 25 and 20, right? So we can see, if you observe, after the first pass, the selected position has been placed with the proper value. Fine. The selected position, that is the first position, where I need to get the least value out of it, because I am putting all the elements in ascending order. The least value out of this particular is 5, so I got 5 here. So now I don't need to touch it. So I'll be selecting the next position. Again, I'll be comparing it with the rest. And wherever my selected position is found to be greater, I'll make an exchange, otherwise not, right? Like that, I'll be completing the next pass. So in pass 2, if you look at in pass 2, I have 5 year, 10 year, then what else I have? 15, 25, 20, right? 15, 25 and 20. So you'll be selecting this, comparing it. Your selected position is not greater, so don't exchange. Not greater, no exchange. Not greater, no exchange. So after pass 2, you'll get the same elements rather, right? So now you can go for pass 3. The element that you obtain from the pass 2 are 5, 10, 15, same as it is, right? The other. Now you select the next position, that is nothing but 15, right? Index value with 2 rather. Again, you repeat the process, right? That is what the mechanism is suggesting us to do, right? So if you see the selected position, is it greater? No. So don't exchange. Is it greater? No. Don't exchange. So after pass 3, you will find the same element. So now you go with the pass 4. You got 5, 10, 15, 25 and 10, 20, right? So now the next element to be selected is nothing but here the index value with 3, which is nothing but 25 rather, right? So now you do the same process, comparing it with the subsequent elements, fine, because before elements are sorted, whatever the position that you have selected, they are all getting sorted. So you need not to bother about them. You need to bother about only the rest rather, right? So when you have selected the index value with 3, which is nothing but 25, when it is been compared with the further elements, here only 20 is left. So you can see the selected position is greater, then you have to make an exchange. So here you will get 20 and here you will get 25. So after pass 4, you can see the elements are sorted. Yes or no? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So if you look at the time complexity of the algorithm, right? You have to do anyway all the passes. There is no average, best, worst in this scenario, because you have to select all the positions. So you have to repeat the logic. So there is no possibility of stopping in between. Right? You have to continue this entire process. So only you will find the worst case time complexity in this, right? So the worst case time complexity you find is nothing but, see, for each pass, how many each pass requires how many comparisons? First pass requires n-1, and next pass will be reduced further, right? It will be with n-, because when you have selected the first position, the first pass probably n-1 comparison. For the next pass, you will be leaving the before selected position, so the rest of the elements are going to be n-2. So for second pass, it will be n-2, and for third pass, it's going to be n-3, like that. Okay, so it is nothing but sum of series kind. Okay, n-1 plus n-2, okay, plus so on up to 0, which is nothing but sigma n, which is nothing but n square by 2 the other way around, right? The n into n-1 by 2, obviously approximate time that requires to perform any set of elements is nothing but O of n square by 2. This is the time complexity. Now we'll write the algorithm for the same, and then we will implement it using C language and demonstrate it. Okay. So now look at the algorithm here. Algorithm for selection sort. Okay. So you first begin. What are the variables you require? You require an array of size anything, you can probably say, and then I you require j here, you require temporary variable. Of course, in algorithm I'm not exchanging, so you don't require anyway. So then, okay. So first you read an array. First you read the array. Then you will have to apply the logic. So in the logic, what is that you're going to do? You have to make how many passes? I equal to 0. In I, I'm taking the selected positions. I'll be starting from the first onwards until the last but one element are going to be my selected positions, which I'm taking in I here. So now in loop, inside loop, the inner loop, I'll be taking j. J is going to point to the rest of the elements in each pass. If I start with 0, then probably in that pass my elements rest of elements with which I am going to compare with the selected position are going to be I plus 1. Okay, it's going to be I plus 1. Fine, j equal to I plus 1, j less than what could be the last element, of course, n minus 1, so j less than n, j plus plus. So here I am going to compare the selected position. Selected position is in I. If a of I, if selected position is greater than the rest of the element, rest of the elements are being represented here with the help of j. So if my selected position a of I is greater than the rest of the elements, that is a of j, then I'll be exchanging. I'm going to swap. I'm going to swap a of I with a of j. Okay, this is what my algorithm is, and repeat the process. That's it, right? And then you bring the sorted array. So this is what the logic of selection sort. Will now demonstrate the same using the C program here. Is it clear to all of you? I'll first save this program. I'll give the name as bubble sort .c. Okay. So most of it I require, so I'm just copying this entire thing for my selection sort. Control C. I'll go for the new project. I say create new project. So here I'll be replacing this with the same, but then I need the changes that I'm going to make it, of course, here. So here I'm actually implementing what selection sort, right? Selection sort. First line, I'm having a comment here to state that what is that I'm going to do here in this program. A of 20, I'll take instead of pass, I just say, because anyway I require all the passes to be done. So I comma j. I don't need any flag here, rather, right? I need, of course, temp, so I'll take the temp. And I want to restrict the array size with n. So I have initially taken the array size as 20, and then I'm restricting with n by using it by reading it from the user during the runtime, right? So first you have read the size of the array, read the elements here, and then here your logic starts in this. Let us say I is the index which is going to represent the selected positions. The selected position should start from I till up to I less than n minus 1. Last but one, rather, right? I plus plus I say here. Then I don't need this flag anywhere, so I just remove this. Okay, and here inside the loop, that is inner loop, I'm taking j as an iterator, and the j value is going to represent the subsequent elements or the rest of the element. When I select I as the selected position element, then probably j should start with I plus 1, rather, right? So it should be I plus 1 here, and j less than n. I should go to the last element, right? And then I should say j plus plus here. Okay, so, and now I'm going to compare the selected position, that is a of I, with the rest of the element. Rest of the elements are available in j, right? So I have to say a of j. If a of I is greater than a of j, then I'm going to make an exchange, rather, right? So here in place of this I plus 1, it should be j here. It should be j here, right? The selected position is a of I, and the rest of the elements are represented with j. So if the selected position is greater than the rest of the element, I'm going to make an exchange here, right? I don't need this flag, so I'll just remove this. Okay, so this is my if loop, this is my inside loop, this is inner loop, and this is outer loop. And now my logic is complete, and the sorted array elements are going to be here printed. Fine. So now we can probably run this algorithm and look at. Here again, asking for the size. I'm giving the file as the size. Let us say you can enter any elements 87, 23, 12, 56. Any random values you give, then probably look at how your algorithm is working, right? So is it going to put the elements in sorted order, sir? Yes or no? 12, 23, 25, 56, 87. Yes, it has put the elements in the sorted order, right? This logic is little different from the previous one. This had to be selection sort. In this selection sort, what is that we are doing? We have taken two iterators I and j. I is representing what? I is representing the selected position. The selected position starting from the first onward till the last but one, and the rest of the elements obviously start after the selected position. So j should start with I plus 1, go till up to the last element. So you are going to compare the selected position element with the rest of the elements. Whenever you find the selected position is greater than the rest, then you are going to make an exchange. Otherwise not, right? Like this you'll be doing it for all the passes, right? Then obviously when you come out of it, you'll find the all the sorted elements available here. So that's how you are going to implement this particular. I hope this is clear to all of you.